Putin is now a lame duck after the failed coup in Russia. Yevgeny Prigozhin, chef to Russian President Vladimir Putin and leader of the Wagner mercenary group, nearly took over the government on June 24. The idea that Putin could rule Russia after this was effectively destroyed. What gave Prigozhin his speed? First, everyone should pay attention to Andrei Troshev's message to all southern Russian army units. Wagner is going to Russia, from June 21 to July 5, to sign an agreement with Russian security structure, not a Ministry of Defense, according to the document. Wagner expert Vladimir Osechkin of Gulagu.net attests to its veracity. This is how quickly Wagner took Rostov, Russia's primary logistics hub in the Ukraine conflict. Even before he declared his rebellion, Prigozhin was already repositioning units. According to Vladimir Osechkin, the mercenaries were instructed to march to help Putin, who wants to fire the Minister of Defense but needs clout in order to do so. This may seem like psychosis to an outsider, but anyone familiar with Prigozhin's troll farms will recognize this as his trademark. Prigozhin apparently set out to kidnap Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu at his headquarters in Rostov. In contrast, Shoigu made a hasty exit. General Vladimir Alexeyev of the Russian GRU military intelligence service was one of the two men left behind to negotiate with Prigozhin. Ukrainian-born Alexeyev is a key plotter in this conflict. According to rumor, he is the head of Russian intelligence and is responsible for all operations in the West, including the Skripal poisoning. He is also credited as Wagner's creator. He is close friends with Dmitry Utkin, the country's current military commander. Putin reportedly left Security Council Secretary Nikolai Patrushev to deal with the rebels while he sailed to St. Petersburg on a new yacht to enjoy his favorite water festival. Alexeyev appeared to be Patrushev's emissary. It would have been prudent to accord such a man the courtesy he deserved. Instead, Prigozhin showed him off on video as a trophy capture. While Utkin continued his march to Moscow, Prigozhin stayed at the Rostov headquarters. When it comes to command, Utkin shines. Furthermore, he is a man who has tattooed Nazi shoulder straps onto his body and given his squad the name of Hitler's preferred composer. The coup had already failed at this point. By June 22, the FSB had been notified. And this lines up with what Bellingcat's Christo Grozev said about a flurry of activity in the channels of communication between the FSB, the GRU, and the Federal Protective Service. If Wagner thought the FSB would be on his side, he was mistaken. The FSB apparently had rosters of Wagner natives who had served in the military. After Prigozhin's attack, these suspects were quickly apprehended. Meanwhile, some 70 miles from Moscow, 5 bridges across the Oka River were blocked, loaded with explosives, and surrounded by a large number of troops. A lot of people would have gotten killed. Patrushev seems to have been unusually well prepared for the coup. It would have shown President Putin's complete lack of wisdom if Prigozhin had been defeated at Oka, and Patrushev would have become the most powerful man in Moscow. Patrushev is Putin's best friend, the leader of what some refer to as the Deep KGB, and one of only 2 people who supposedly had access to Putin in his bunker. He has also been spreading wild conspiracy theories, such as the idea that George Soros controls European parliaments and that 4 U.S. presidents have been swatted by American corporations like flies. Prigozhin gave up before he could cross the river, so Patrushev didn't end up winning. Alexei Dyamin, the governor of the Tula region and a friend of billionaire and Putin's second closest friend Yuri Kovalchuk, who is said to be a driving force behind the Ukraine war with truly bizarre ideas, talked him into stopping. The elite of the West, according to his brother, is busy developing genetically modified, serving people, and reducing birth rates in Western countries with the help of gay propaganda. It wasn't enough to thwart Prigozhin. We also had to make sure Patrushev didn't win. Putin played almost no role in this at all. The vast amount of blackmail available to Prigozhin is the only reason he has allowed the traitor to live. Since he led Putin's private army in Ukraine and later in Africa, he must be trusted. Over there, you can expect some serious business, not just your everyday corruption. It's possible you're thinking this is all a wild conspiracy. That's the point. Everyone here is a die-hard conspiracist. And leaders in the security and military services who believe in conspiracy theories constantly hatch plots that always backfire. Both Prigozhin and Putin were defeated, which is good news. The people who stand to gain the most and take charge of Russia after Putin are, frankly, nuts. Did I mention that serving as Putin's bodyguard is Alexei Diamond's primary qualification for his current position as governor? He was able to negotiate with Putin's chef because of this. The quality of Russia's lay bureaucracy is impressive. However, the aforementioned three-ring circus best describes its state security elite. Putin made it to look like him, and now he has to deal with the consequences. Perhaps it is telling that even the crazies want to end the war. In either case, it's the most dramatic unresolved plot point of the Ukraine books. And Putin is an easy target, but not until after he's lost the war. That way, whoever makes it out alive can confidently blame him for the military's setbacks. Journalist and author Yulia Latinina was employed by the defunct Novaya Gazeta newspaper and the defunct Echo of Moscow radio station due to the conflict in Ukraine. The United States Department of State has honored her as a defender of freedom.